All right, let's get into something kind of wild today. We're diving into an article from the Daily Beast that makes a really strange comparison. They're asking, is Donald Trump actually the Wizard of Oz?
But hey, before we pull back that curtain, do me a quick favor. If you like what we do here, smash that like button and definitely subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Okay, let's do this.
So, this is the big question the article just throws right out there. And I know, it sounds completely bizarre, right? But the way they argue it isn't quite so simple. There's a really interesting twist to this whole thing.
The article basically says, yes, he is. But then it hits you with the real question. Which wizard are we even talking about? Because it turns out, the Wizard of Oz you think you know might not be the only one. Okay, so here's the core of the whole argument. On one side, you've got the classic wizard from the 1939 movie, right? He's kind of just a bumbling showman, a bit of a fraud, but deep down he means well. But then you have the wizard from the musical Wicked, and he is a totally different character, a full-on, power-hungry tyrant who will crush anyone who gets in his way.
And this is where the article connects the dots. It claims that after the 2020 election loss, Trump came back as this darker version of himself. The argument is he basically went from being the bumbling, well-meaning showman to the vengeful, tyrannical wizard.
But here's where the analogy gets even more interesting. Just like in the story, the article claims the curtain is starting to slip, that the grand illusion is starting to fall apart a little bit.
So what's pulling back that curtain? Well, according to this piece, it's just plain old age. The Daily Beast says there are some pretty clear signs that the pressure and the years are starting to show.
And I mean, the article gets super specific here. It talks about cankles and even speculates that he's too proud to wear compression socks. It also suggests that, like a lot of people as they get older, he might be getting a little shorter than his listed height.
But look, the physical stuff, the article basically says that's small potatoes compared to what it calls mental lapses. This is where the argument really kicks into high gear.
And they just rattle off a whole list of examples. Things like forgetting the name of the Atlantic Ocean, not being able to name the countries and wars he said he resolved, calling St. Petersburg Leningrad, which is its old Soviet name, and even a report that he didn't recognize the president of Finland.
Now, to be fair, you gotta look at the other side of the coin, right? And the article points this out too. His own physician's report officially states he's in excellent cognitive and physical health and is fully fit to be commander-in-chief. So you have these two completely opposite pictures being painted.
Okay, so if you're following the article's logic, if the man behind the curtain is starting to get exposed, what's his next move? How do you keep up the illusion of being all-powerful? The article's big prediction is a strategic retreat. Not a retreat from power, no, but from the public eye. The idea is we'd see him start to rule from behind the scenes, from behind the curtain, just like the wizard. And to back this idea up, the article points to a total shift in strategy. I mean, we all know he has a history of being everywhere with the press, right? But the argument here is that would all just be a big show, an initial flood of media attention, followed by a total retreat from that kind of scrutiny.
And they actually lay out the whole playbook, calling it the autocrat's retreat. First, you slow way down on the unpredictable press conferences. Then, you just go around the media and talk directly to your followers on places like Truth Social. And finally, you just rule by decree, making big announcements from behind the curtain where you can't be challenged.
And all of this builds to the article's main point, this kind of crazy paradox. A leader who is ever present, his name is everywhere, all over social media, all over the news, but he's never there to actually face the music in a way he used to. Which, it leaves you with this one kind of huge final question the article wants you to think about. If this is all true, if we're dealing with smoke and mirrors and a leader pulling levers from behind a curtain, are we all just characters living in Oz? So what do you guys think? Is this whole Wizard of Oz analogy from the Daily Beast a brilliant take, or is it just totally out there? Let us know what you think down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will catch you on the next explainer.